Welcome to the Real CP Show. I am your host, CP. And today's topic, Karmelo Anthony, the Black American teen that was a track meet, minding his business under a tent, where you had these allegedly twin bullies, the Mad Cow brothers, twin bullies, that made a straight line over to to Karmelo Anthony, mind his business on this particular tent at this stadium in Frisco, Texas. And they proceeded to tell this Black American teen that he can't be there. As if this is some type of 1960s time frame. You can't be there, Negro. And there were other people underneath that tent that didn't say nothing. Do you understand? This stuff is taught to numbers of personnel within certain sections of Panama's culture and numbers of ones within certain Anglo adjacent and some other ones that slide under some generic people of color, model minority, communities, marginalized people, whatever other nonsensical games they love keep playing, right, to dilute down Black Americans, but slide all these other people underneath this generic flag or banner that also numbers, can't stand the guts of Black Americans because they look at certain numbers of personnel within certain parts of Panama's culture as a god to them. It's like situation with the Rick Child situation. Excuse me. So the thing about it is, so when one of the Metcalf brothers got juked to unalignment by Karmelo Anthony, self-defense, protecting himself. No. You can't have a Negro, be it a Black American teen Negro or a grown Black American Negro, male Negro, or Black American woman Negro, or Black American youth female Negro. No, you can never protect yourself. You got to just take the nonsense. For centuries before many cultures and backgrounds ever existed, before many immigration personnel, border break illegal immigrants, etc., even existed in America, before Black Americans, before they even came across being in America, while Black Americans already building up this country. This is also what makes it extremely insulting. You're talking about less than 100 years ago, segregation was still going strong in America. Do you understand? Less than 100 years ago, Black Americans were going through formal segregation. Again, before many cultural backgrounds even existed in America. And some small number of personnel within certain agencies, they weren't even around themselves. But the few that was around, they would have been overall scared of the Padam-based culture ones. The ones applies to. Because there's a caste system and Anglo-Asianists. Don't get it confused. Because notice that you don't have a lot of dark-skinned Asians that are allowed to come to America. Do you understand? So you have Anglo-Asians. It ain't that many, especially 100 years ago. But the fear amount, actually, what am I saying? There wasn't the amount of Anglo-Asians 100 years ago. Because there are three main Anglo-Asianists. What we call Chinese, Koreans, and Vietnamese. Those are the three main ones. And there's a caste system within. And it's other ones that flow after that. Do you understand? And there is no Pan-Asian among them each other. But again, Karmelo Anthony gets juked to unalignment. And various parts of the main media Anglo version overall, and some other medias, the one supplies to, and some other people, the one supplies to too, they kept fixated on, oh my goodness, Karmelo Anthony sit there and juke Metcalf brother to unalignment. Oh my goodness. Do you understand? They kept making sure not to talk about what happened before that. They kept making sure not to sit there and focus on a point of who told the Metcalf brothers to bring their little happy asses over there to this Black American who was minding his damn business. Who told him to go over there and tell him to get up? And you need to leave. I was like, who do they think they are? And then when he didn't want to leave because he had all rights to sit his tail right there where he was at, no adults told him, no coaches, no other grown folks told him you can't be here because they'd have been wrong. Because like, what are you talking about? In general, right? And so then they would put hands on him. They assault him first, and he self-defends himself. He had a multi-tool, right? Knife in this, right? Self-defense. Nope, can't do that. Do you understand? But Rick Chow in South Carolina, a wannabe Anglo-Asian Chinese version, because notice they didn't make sure to talk about his background. They just kept saying Asian, 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 Asian. You cannot do that. You must sit there and not allow people to sit there and just use generic terminology like that. He was of Chinese ancestry. Just like you have good and bad people from different cultures background, but they make sure to talk about this saying Asian. Do you see that dilutes? Do you understand? Asia is a continent. And more Black Americans got to stop this damn genericality terminology with people. Let's say utilizing context in the situation saying Asian, Asian, Asian. Which Asian? Do you understand this game? And by the way, let me go ahead and speed this a little bit more. And interesting, then Karmelo Anthony gets 35 years. 35 years for defending himself. Do you know how many bad seed officer version, KKK minded type ones in general have unalived Black Americans and didn't even get close to that time? And many just get acquitted regardless or slapping a hand. Do you understand? So for 35 years, Karmelo Anthony gets convicted 35 years for self-defense that no one told the Metcalf brother, brainy happy asses over there, to assault Karmelo Anthony. But they kept trying to say he got a knife, he got a knife. Was he showing a knife all over the place? Of course not. Do you understand? This is a wicked system. And you got personnel say, oh, racism, it's not as much. Go to hell. When did racism, anti-American blackism stop within Americanism? Show the hell when it ever stopped. When it's been going on since 1776 and before 1776. When was there a break of hate toward Black Americanism? When? It never stopped. And then Rick, the KKK by his actions child, shoots a Black American teen boy in South Carolina with a video show. I did a podcast on that. Where he sit there and show it, where it right there literally shows the 14-year-old, 15-year-old Black American teen, a Black teen, getting water out of the store, 4 bottles of water. He puts 4 bottles of waters back. He gets his backpack and leaves. And these 3 KKK-minded thought pattern childs in this situation, Rick Chow, the fleer, because he's a damn fleer. Why couldn't he build stuff up in his own country? Huh? Coward fleer. The son, another, I'm not gonna say he's a fleer because I'm not quite sure he was already, if they brought him over here, he's a pseudo fleer, or he's just someone that was born over here, bam, off of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, where the child sit there, Rick Chow and his little monstrosity, violent, or atrocious wife, right? That's a whole different topic in itself, right? How they benefit off of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. If the child was born in America, bam, automatic citizenship. Do you understand this? And he gets acquitted when they chase him out of the store for over 100 yards. And they shoot him. The father shoots him. The 14-year-old, 15-year-old black American male, a Black teen male, shoots him to unalivement and claims the 14, 15-year-old had a boom piece of equipment, and that was a lie. He was pointing at him. That was a lie. But he claimed self-defense after they chasing him 100 yards, and he gets acquitted. God dang. Do you understand this hatefulness in this system within various parts of America? Do you understand And more black Americans about to wake the freak up. What do you mean by that? Give me a second. Give me a moment here. Is a war happening. There is a major war happening to our black Americans. Wake the freak up. There is a war happening. There is a major war happening to our black Americans. Wake the freak up. There's a major war happening. A major war happening right now. To black Americans even more. Do you understand? A major war. And by the way, I did a podcast also on the Karmelo Anthony situation when it first happened. But let me get into that for a second, because it's very poignant in this story as well. This is not going to be a long show on this part. But you know what? Before I do that, I'm going to sit there and show you something. This is also why, for black American women, that'll start waking the freak up as well. Because there are certain numbers of women within the plant-based culture that hate the living guts out of black American women. There are so many type of Anglo women feminists in America that even unfortunately, certain numbers of the males in certain parts of plant-based culture are very weak-minded toward relationships, and they don't even understand they get controlled. Do you understand? Anglo feminists don't give a dang about their numbers of a certain section of Anglo males. They just use them. You understand? But what I'm getting at, the black American women feminists, which is oxymoronic, that means you calling yourself a black feminist out there Anglo feminist. Then how many of black American women be walking around talking about we gotta do womanism, women. Which women? What do you mean by that? There are numbers of women within the plant-based culture, once applies to, and some Anglo adjacent, and the list goes on. But since the personnel, since the number oneness of the structure of how the system goes within womanism is by certain women within the plant-based culture, because there's a caste system within womanism. Do you understand? On that part. So when black American women, the ones applies to walk around talking about women, this is what numbers of Anglo feminists do. This is what they do. Just like this situation right here. Watch this.
The bullshit that is coming out of the Karmelo Anthony supporters team is rank. I honestly can't believe my eyes.
And by the way, I'm utilizing this under fair usage doctrine.
They're acting like they're the victims. They're acting like Karmelo Anthony was stabbed by Austin Metcalf, who got off. That's exactly how they're acting. That's not what Karmelo Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf, taking this 17-year-old's life in an instant over nothing.
Do you hear this hatred? I'm not talking about the person. I don't give a about the person. They can jump to a volcano. But I'm telling you, more black American women better wake the freak up too. There are so many women within plant-based culture and Anglo, wink, Anglo adjacent ones. Because in this situation, Megyn Kelly, their background is Anglo adjacent. And pseudo people of color mixed in that person's background. So the audacity on that. But they get paid big time to spew this type of rhetoric. So you can smell feminists, right? And that's a weakness of a minded males to get married to someone like this. Boss. Do you understand? Boss. But for her to make this kind of rhetoric, this anti-black Americanism terminology by their actionable words, because if this was a black woman saying this, and if it was vice versa that case, oh no, that wouldn't have been allowed.
Went into Austin's track and field tent during a track meet, They told him to leave because he wasn't part of their school. Each school had their own tent, though Carmelo Anthony's school apparently didn't have a tent for some reason. But that's not why he was there. It did begin to rain, but he was there intentionally provoking people. He obviously went into that tent looking for a fight because he went armed with a knife that was not a little Swiss Army knife like Jasmine Crockett and her ridiculous crowd of woke warriors were suggesting.
That's a piece of shit. This piece of dog shit. It wasn't no gigantic knife. Notice how also there's not a lot of images of the actual knife, but the interpretation, it was just like a multi-tool knife. Not gigantic knives part, had multi-tools part of it. Do you understand? Do you understand the hatefulness that flows out this kind of mouth in this situation here, right? That's hatefulness. Anti-Black Americanism. It's like you smell hatefulness out of that mouth that's spewing out what they're saying by their actionable words. Karmelo Anthony, that's not had to do with his tent. Well, they didn't have a tent. So what? What's the name? Austin Metcalf, they didn't have no right to be there. He wasn't running no track. Do you understand? And it was raining out there a little bit too. Watch this.
In their Zoom call the other day. And he then dared Austin to lay hands on him to make him leave the tent. Austin did lay hands on him in a way that was not violent in any way, barely moved him at all.
And do you see what she said? Let's go back. Do you see this minimizing?
Austin did lay hands on him in a way that was not violent in any way, barely moved him at all.
Do you see this spirit anti-Black Americanism, feminist joggingness? She admits he put hands on him first. And she said, well, he barely. It's assault. Do you understand? These type of feminists are atrocious.
And as soon as he touched Karmelo Anthony, Anthony plunged that knife into Austin's heart, killing him. That's what happened. The jury saw autopsy photos that were so gruesome, they recoiled in horror. Their jaws dropped. That showed a 2.5-inch gaping wound where his heart was. He stabbed him so severely and deeply, forgive me, but it went through the heart, testified the medical examiner, and punctured the bone behind. Like this wasn't an accident. He didn't accidentally hit the heart instead of something else. He didn't nick him. He plunged that knife deep into Austin's heart, and it is obvious meant to kill him.
More Black American women better wake the hell up. Better wake the hell up. The outright lyingness of this feminist, Anglo feminist, you can smell it in her voice. The hateful vileness. And there has to be more Black American legal class, not some little pseudo version, but have some backbones to say, you know what? No, we're going to fight for more Black Americanism. This is what numbers of, anyway. Let me read let's look at some of these comments. Some sick people in upside down society. Unbelievable. These people are all off their rockers. This is why we have so much fatigue. You mean white fatigue, right? You see how that goes. Upside down world we live in, disgusting. Not only do we know he did it, he admitted it. Bad parents in a world of delusion. Zero remorse for Austin. Wow, no remorse, incredible. I'm a Black man, was raised in the hood. My dad, my mom gave me the proper guidance and held me accountable for my mistakes. Never been to prison / never been to prison / jail because I was aware of consequences that Black kid was wrong. Wait a minute. I was aware of consequences that Black kid was wrong and should be held accountable. This person go to hell. Just because your skin is Black don't mean you're about Black. You got to watch these. These are you can be tethers. You can be coons and sellouts. Do you understand? What that's supposed to be raised in the hood? You got tell us that's raised in the hood because they won't be allowed to be put on the base Anglo neighborhoods. They weren't going to be allowed to be put on the base a certain generic Asian hoods. Do you understand? The list goes on. You see how this game goes, right? They say again, nothing about who told the Metcalf brothers to go there to that tent where Karmelo Anthony was minding his business, and to push on for the both brothers or one of the brothers to assault Karmelo Anthony. Who told them to do that? That's not their right to tell him to move. Do you understand? And then again, assault Karmelo Anthony first. Do you understand this? This is how grifters behave. Offended by everything, ashamed of nothing. You mean the number one people that are the number one victims in DEI, right? Affirmative action is by number of the ones within the Panama-based culture. The number one person who commits the most crimes in America is by a person within the Panama-based culture. The number one person who's committed the acts of hatred toward Black Americans, right, is number of the person within the Panama-based culture. Do you see this game they keep running on Black Americans? And they know a number of the Black Americans, unfortunately, becoming more naive, not to sit there and see what's going on. Decriminalizing Karmelo's action is racism. Entitled to everything, ashamed of nothing. Totally agree with you, Megan. It's beyond fatigue at this point. It's not Black fatigue anymore. It's Black exhaustion. Offended by everything, ashamed of nothing, entitled to everything, contributing nothing, where Black Americans built this country before many of these Anglo adjacent and even numbers of Anglos even set foot, or Anglo adjacent even set foot in America. And how many lazy bone versions of person within the Panama-based culture? They ain't work nothing half of the time. I always had their hand out wanting nothing for something for nothing, right? How many ones had plantations, weren't working for nothing, had Black slave labor, huh? How many numbers of Anglos sit there and stole a copy Black inventions, huh? Do you understand that? His parents are the reason that their son is an unaliver. You mean he came from an intact family, well-to-do neighborhood. He was honor roll student. His sports, I think he was a co-captain. Whatever he was not a problem child whatsoever. But when you look at Austin Metcalf's family, you listen to his dad was talking, you have to question that background. His mom was talking, you have to question that person's background. Do you understand? I'm a Black man, 100% agree with you. These parents need to take more responsibility. You can go to hell. You have to watch either these tellers or coons. They say again, nothing about again, why was it right for Austin Metcalf and his brother go over there and bully, right, and assault Karmelo Anthony? Who told him to do that? Do you understand that? The fatigue is the bowling puck. You mean white fatigue that Black Americans get all the time for last four centuries? You mean that? Jasmine Crockett made a completely different scenario than actually what happened. These people are insane. We're not going to go on that part. This is secondhand embarrassment for rational Black Americans. I've been professionally nanny for 20 years. I could tell these parents are clueless. They failed their son in so many ways. You see this game that these people are running on Black Americans. Let me tell you what it's like. It's a slap. God dang it. I get tired. I had some stuff going in the background and it just locked up. And I despise when this stuff do that. Hold on, give me a second. It's freezing up. I can't stand when it does. I cannot stand when this thing freezes up. It's like it does it on purpose. I can't stand this when it does that. I can't stand it. It's almost like on purpose on that. But what I'm getting at, it's an insult. It's an extreme insult on this situation, right? Let me show you what I'm talking. Hold on for a second. Man, this is so ridiculous. Right? The insultingness. Let me sit there and share my screen on this again. Give me a second here. Oh, I want to sit there and show you. When I said earlier that I did a show topic on this one here. And this gentleman, introvert rock star, has a good podcast himself, talks about a lot of good, interesting things too. I'm just utilizing the piece to show some stuff as well. And let me just play this. I'm utilizing this on the fair use of doctrine. This is when I did the show, I think, about a year ago? Hold on. When was this? This is the show title. The Karmelo Anthony, Bad Negro, and Austin Metcalf, Good Anglo Boy is a pawn game. They know it. So I did this about a year ago, right? This show about a year ago on this. Go ahead and play. That's what they're doing. So let me go ahead and play this particular. Let me play this particular clip from this gentleman's podcast, Fair Usage Doctrine, and it's he does a great job of analysis on different topics. Let me go ahead and play this. Make sure that's visible. Okay, let me. All right, let me go ahead and play this. Oh, wrong one. Let me go ahead and play this.
It was raining. They got rained out like crazy bad. Everybody trying to get back to their cars or get in, places where they, wouldn't get all extra wet. Dude was sitting up on the tent, right? He was on his phone, right? My daughters was up under the same goddamn tent. Yeah. So I'm paying attention to my kids, but at the same time, they're in the same vicinity. So I'm watching everything going on around it because I'm there for my children. So dude walks up, McKellen, bro, he wasn't even under the tent at the time. They came from a whole separate tent and walked over there. They intentionally went over there to this kid, man. Dude was sitting there on his phone just trying to get dry. You feel me? One thing went from another. They grabbed this man and they tried to punch on dude. Dude went in his bag and whatever.
Hold on, let's play that again.
Jump tent and walked over. So I'm watching everything going on around it because I'm there for my children. So dude walks up, McKellen, bro, he wasn't even under the tent at the time. They came from a whole separate tent and walked over there. They intentionally went over there to this kid, man. Dude was sitting there on his phone just trying to get dry. You feel me? One thing went from another. They grabbed this man and they tried to punch on dude. Dude went in his bag and whatever. They went to try to jump this dude and punch on this dude, man. And he protected himself, dude.
You didn't hear that Megyn Kelly is Anglo adjacent, right? With that blatant anti-Black Americanism spearing out of her mouth. Not her personally, don't care, but her mouth is sitting there showcasing blatant anti-Black Americanism. If that was a Black American woman, oh, you best believe they'd have been all going off on her if that was a Black American woman doing that. And this case was totally different, right? If Karmelo Anthony was an Anglo male and the Metcalf brothers were two Black American boys that sit there and made a straight line over there to that tent, right? And they went over there to sit there and assault, right? With hatred and tendency to assault Karmelo Anthony if he was a white guy. And then Karmelo Anthony, if he was a white guy, juked one of the Metcalf brothers who was Black to unalivement. And then you had, and let that have been a all Black, let me say it again, let that have been at that situation, all Black jury. And then he gets sentenced to 35 years. Do you not know? They be like, I don't think so. Two Black bully Black American teens, and one of them stabs a good, wholesome Dukes of Hazzard mentality type of Austin. Karmelo Anthony. Let's say if he was a white fellow, and these Negroes have the nerve to have a all Negro jury. Oh no. Do you understand that? And Megyn Kelly was a Black woman and was talking that stuff. What she's doing? Oh no. But this is the blatant disrespect that people are feeling more comfortable in doing. Do you understand? She didn't say nothing about that. You see her little Anglo anti-Black Americanism rhetoric by her own actions and her words. Well, he kind of basically just kind of, shoved him a little bit. I'm just saying, you ain't that much. It was assault. Do you see how this game goes? They like, Negroes, what you gonna do?
That's what happened. Yeah. It wasn't just one. It was both of them, bro. Austin, that dude that got unalive, and his brother physically went over there to intentionally. He had a. It's not to the point that he brought a knife. For one, it wasn't on school property. The school is at least 5 to 10 miles away. It was community track meet, bro. It wasn't a school track meet. So he had the right to have a knife on his person, bro.
And look, I'm gonna say it again. Rest in peace to that young man, 17 years old. He has so much life to live. But on this channel, we hold racist Caucasian people accountable. And to the good Caucasian people, thank you for understanding and not being evil. And see, it all makes sense. I see why this family was going on every news outlet to tell their side of the story first. But don't worry, we'll get to that audio clip later on in this video. And first of all, it's some things I have to address. Racist Caucasian people, and they love to gaslight black people. And
that's right. Right? Because the racial coon versions within Black Americans, some, right? They want a little pat on the forehead, right? Hey, hey, Klan type person within certain parts of Panamanian culture, ones who want to be Klan within Panamanian culture, please pat, the coon on the forehead and saying, you good boy, good boy, good girl, good Negro girl, good Negro boy. And then understand they're nothing to them. I relate this point in finishing up this part that they kept also harping on. I'm gonna show you something a little bit, unless I forget. Karmelo Anthony, how much he raised. So the hell what? Do you understand? But all that resources that was given to Karmelo Anthony's family, GoFundMe, whatever else. Oh, don't worry about that. But if it was vice versa, same situation, just vice versa. That's all. And see how it'd be like, well, Karmelo Anthony, if he was a white teen, well, he was just trying to protect himself. Those two black bully, Metcalf black bully Negroes, I mean, they shouldn't have came over there. God dang. This system is wicked. And it's understandable while numbers of Black Americans, about 1 million, suffer from black pain. It's almost feeling helpless. Instead of saying, who the hell do none of these people within certain parts of Panamanian culture think the hell they are? Black Americans don't owe them shit. And fight back. Do you understand? It's almost like people act as if Black Americans just started America half a generation ago. As if numbers of Black Americans came to America after some wars happened in some other countries, and they were helped out by some people within the Panamanian culture and some general modern minorities, and they went over there in the service and helped these Negroes out in some other countries, and they came over $1.50 in their pocket and then run game and act like generations later, or half a generation later, 1 generation later, you get to the point wherever it is, a couple generations, and they got these different businesses and different other places and getting themselves in colleges a little bit more, and don't act as if they did everything themselves. You got your freaking mind. They were giving resources to come over. Do you understand? Without the Vietnam War, the Korean War, etc., however sectionality with those people wouldn't even be in America like that. And you say Chinese, like Rick Chow, the KKK-minded, violent cretin who had a violent background. Chinese Exclusion Act was 1880s, something like that. Something give a plus or minus. Who did that? Numbers of personnel within Panamanian culture. Did they fight back against the numbers of personnel within Panamanian culture? No, because they were scared. Do you hear numbers of Chinese people right now in America? When C-19 happened, and this, oh my goodness, C-19 came from the Chinese. Did you sit there and hear numbers of Chinese personnel jumping them down, telling Anglo personnel, you shut up, people. You can't tell us that. They fight back. No, they complain. I'm talking what applies to. Do you understand? And then how many, in general, Anglo Asians start talking about what? Black Americans beating up on innocent Asians. We need an anti-Asian hate crime bill. Bam, on the Biden administration. 3 months it took for anti-Black American hate crime bill to go through legislation to be signed. And then it was found out that it was more Anglo males who were beating up down numbers of Asians. Do you see how that game goes? You said his game goes.
they love to forget, saying things like, oh, this not about race. Oh, black people are racist. Oh, how can y'all donate 300K to a murderer? Well, on my channel, it's my job to remind you. Run the tape.
In a 2-hour taped confession with FBI agents, Roof explained why he chose Charleston's historic Emmanuel AME Church.
Was that why you chose that church?
Oh, yes. Because you were looking for African Americans. Right.
What did he say? Dylan, the Ku Klux Klan Roof, young, Anglo male, violent. He went into that church to specifically look for Black Americans. But there's no racial racism going on in America in the 21st century. Do you see how this game goes, right?
I wasn't going to go to another church, because there could have been white people there.
Had you thought about going, hey, I get some more bullets and go shoot some more people?
Oh, no, I was worn out. There's no way.
In Roof's car, law enforcement also recovered American and Confederate flags, empty ammunition boxes, and a firearm along with a laser sight attachment.
What kind of gun did you use?
A Glock 45.
Okay.
Roof allegedly bought that weapon at Shooter's Choice in West Columbia, South Carolina. The gun store's manager testified in court on Monday that Roof cleared the required 3-day federal background check to receive the handgun. He says Roof bought it and 5 magazines on April 16, 2015, nearly 2 months before the shooting.
Are you glad you did it?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm glad I did it, but I've done it. So,
You said it was something you had to do?
yeah.
So this Klan despicableness, violent chronoconus, Dylan Roof, young Anglo violent male, applying to this situation, made it a straight line into a church where these grandmother, grandfather age type people in this church of worship, right? Church of worship is doing a thing. And he sits there and shoot multiple Black Americans, Christian parishioners to unalivement based upon anti-Black Americanism, hate crime. That's 21st century, people. Today is June the 12th, 2026, and you got certain numbers of Anglos, numbers of Anglo adjacent personnel, even got some tethers that have the skin of black, and they're worthless in their own place they fled from. They jump on a banner. You got numbers of Anglo generic Asians, Asia's a continent, how many fled, right? Because they were nothing in their own countries. Once upon, I'm not talking about some of the good brothers and sisters from those places. But there's no pan-Asian love among each other. You best believe there's still quite a number of strong tension among various Asian countries. How many of Mexicanos that have also fled from south of that border, right? Well, all kind of unaliveness going on. To whom again? Person that look like them. The largest border break illegal immigrant personnel comes from Mexico. And those are quite a number of other people too, don't get it confused. But how many numbers of hateful Mexicanos, anti-Black Americanism? How many other generic Hispanicism, anti-Black Americanism? What is that supposed to mean? It only means you speak Spanish in general, predominantly. But just the generic game they running on that. The ones it applies to. Do you see this gain so much hate toward Black Americans? And you're like, where's this history of Black Americans showing hate to all these people in any kind of slight 20% way, 15% way? It ain't no such thing. Black Americans ain't controlling laws and policies and coup d'etat other countries and controlling them and going over there and causing havoc and all stuff like that and limiting immigration from different places. Any Black Americans have never done that. Do you understand? So the people who are being limited in versions, they're not fighting toward the people who have been doing that. Do you understand?
I had to do it.
The Shooter's Choice gun store was ultimately notified by the federal government not to sell a gun to Roof because of a previous drug arrest, but that notification came 12 days after the shootings. Nora, the government should wrap up its case this week.
All right. And guess what happened when police finally arrested Dylan Roof? They took him to Burger King after unaliving 9 innocent people.
Burger King they took him to. Imagine 9 Anglo parishioners in a Christian church. And they took, and Dylan Roof was a black male, and he went inside a church and he unalived 9 Anglo Christian parishioners. And then, however, officers took that black man, Dylan Roof, to a Burger King.
Drove him right after. They drove him to Burger King. Make that make sense. But this really the cold part. Check this out. On June 25th, 2015, the website Newswatch 33 published an article titled Charleston Church Shooter Dylan Roof receives $4 million in donations from supporters.
Multi-millions. What? Do you understand? Multi-million support. They're running game on numbers of black Americans by the millions. And they know it's few exceptions of black Americans who observe through this. These type of Klan member Anglo versions and pseudo ones. Do you understand the exception? And how many Anglo, Jason and some other personnel that wish it was like them, and how are other ones donated millions of dollars to sit there and help him with his legalness after he took the life of 9 black American Christian parishioners in their church. Do you understand? When he said himself that he went in there looking for black Americans to unalive. Where's all that same outrage at the same type people who are pro or anti Karmelo Anthony from various sections of the Paname's culture and Anglo adjacent and some tethers, and where the same people out there not talking about the Dylan Roof type situation and saying, where's all that outrage about multi-millions being raised for him, Dylan Roof? Violent Anglo mentality. Took the life of 9 black innocent Christians, grandmother, grandfather type personnel. Where's all that? Where's all the outrage at that? Quiet.
According to that article, a group called Citizens for White Rights somehow managed to quietly drum up the exorbitant sum of $4 million in donations for an accused racially motivated mass shooter in just over a week without any other media outlets taking notice.
That's right.
And again, the same people calling us racist donated $4 million in just a week to a person that unalived 9 innocent people. Make it make sense. And look, he wasn't the only one. There's more. Check this out. Daniel Penny raises over $2.9 million in donations for legal defense for subway choking death case. The man who is being charged with the subway choking that caused homeless man Jordan Neely's death.
So Daniel Penny, this violent Anglo Cretan, he sat there and choked out.
Is publicly raising money for his legal. They drove him, according to that homeless man Jordan Neely's death.
When he choked out Mr. Lindley, let me play this.
It's publicly raising a person that earns over $2.9 million.
So when Daniel, the Anglo KKK Penny, when he unalived Jordan Neely, who had some mental situations going on, and you had people saying, "Oh my goodness, he was trying to go toward this Anglo woman." Right, you hear that, come to save the day. Oh my goodness, he's doing something to this Anglo woman. Nope, not at all. He was doing nothing. How many personnel have some mental situations that be doing stuff in subways or other places? You get the point I'm getting at. But they're not physically putting their hands on the person. Are they getting choked out? Are black Americans choking out those kind of Anglo people who are dealing with that? So he gets multi-millions donations for putting Jordan Neely, a black American man who has a situation who's homeless, who they was accusing him of causing havoc not physically touching anybody, not physically assaulting anybody, right? You know how people get close to people, wherever it is, they be talking a certain way, they got some mental situations, a certain type, and he gets choked out by Jordan KKK Neal, Jordan KKK Penny, right? And Jordan Neely was what? He didn't have any kind of knifeness or boom piece of equipment that he had in his hand. Nope. And so Daniel Penny choked him out. Do you understand? And by the way, the two other persons, one was a white Hispanic for sure. I'm not sure about the other one. The other one could have been Anglo adjacent or could have been some generic slot on the people of color, non-black. But those two other ones that helped out, that was holding them down, you rarely heard anything about them. Rarely. And I did a show topic specifically on that as well, on the Daniel Penny situation.
In donations for legal defense for subway choking death case. The man who is being charged with the subway choking that caused homeless man Jordan Neely's death is publicly raising money for his legal defense. And see, I love breaking this shit down because people act like they forgot. But now on this channel, partner, we're going to use our platforms to finally hold racist Caucasian people accountable.
And various other ones, Anglo adjacent, tethers, people saw it on people of color, marginalized communities, all that nonsense, non-black versions, right? Holding them accountable too. But this I want to show you something too from the great Dr. Neely. From the great Dr. Amos Wilson. But at the same time, again, is also there is a
and often to the whole purpose, to the social and political, not about.
Yes. But let me go ahead and play you Dr. Amos Wilson, a clip of this, because again, it's not because unfortunately there are certain ones within American Blackism. Yes, they're all taking this personal as well, and I understand why. But at the same time, again, is also there is a pawn game to this as well. Let me go ahead and play this.
We must recognize then that often the publishing of news and so forth is not about then the publishing of truth or necessarily the publishing of lies, but about the manipulation of consciousness and about the achievement of particular social and political goals. And often they are not even about the person who is at the center of the story. The person is often secondary to the whole purpose of what's going on.
See the game, right? Using Karmelo Anthony as a pawn, right? As a whistle to say, hold on now, we are not going to sit there and allow some Negro to sit there and self-defense himself against numbers of violent versions of Anglo male or women, or violent Anglo type of generically white Asians, or generically white Hispanics, or white wannabe Native Americans. You get the point, or fleeing immigrationist person, the one supplies. You get the point in general. Nope, Negroes, you can't do that. That dog whistle. Do you understand? And they were sitting there worried about Karmelo Anthony and the money that was raised by them, but the Dylan Roof, raised by the family, how other people, well, he's a murderer. And who's the person who put their hands on who first? Austin Metcalf and his brother allegedly assaulted Karmelo Anthony first. Even Megyn Kelly, that some people say Megyn Ku Klux Klan Kelly, she admitted herself, he kind of pushed him or whatever it is, shoved him a little bit, but it wasn't that much. Do you see how these people are? This is why I keep saying the Black American women better wake the hell up too and stop calling themselves the general woman. Megyn Kelly's a woman, right? Feminist. Do you understand? So do Black American women think Megyn Kelly give a damn about Black American women? No, of course not. She doesn't. So when Black American women, the ones that call themselves feminists, Black feminists, Megyn Kelly's laughing at Black women like that. Because Megyn Kelly shows that hatred toward Black Americans in what she was saying on that. But let me go ahead and show something. I'm about to close out in just a little bit on that part. You know what I want to show here? Cause like, oh, you know what? God dang, I almost forgot. This right here. I don't want to talk too much. I'm going way beyond this. There was another podcast I did on this right here. On this podcast right here, this deadly Asian woman takes the life of a 17-year-old American black teen female. You didn't hear too much about that, did you? No. You didn't hear too much about this story, did you? And when did I sit there and do this story? Let me see here. Almost 2 years ago, right? This deadly Asian woman takes the life of a 17-year-old black American teen female. You didn't hear too much about this story, did you? Nope. Excuse me. See how that goes, right? Let me sit there and share my screen. Before I hold on, you know what? Hold on. Oh, let me play this. Hold on. This right here. Karmelo, make sure you can see this. Karmelo Anthony still raking in donations, even as Texas murder trial gets underway, and its $690,000 in fundraising could help him win. Well, apparently not. And this was dated June the 2nd, 2026. You said this game goes, right? They worried about how much money that was being raised for Karmelo Anthony. Do you understand? But not about Austin Metcalf. Do you see anything where it's making sure they're trying to show how much was raised by the Metcalf family in this? Do you see that? Jumping up and down, left and right? Nope. But they worried about what Karmelo Anthony's donations came in for him. Do you understand that? As if he was just sitting back under a tent at the track meet and he had a knife just moving around left and right. And do you understand this? Forget again that Austin Metcalf and his other brother that was alleged are bullies, and they came over starting trouble. As I showed you earlier, when I did a podcast, a year ago, whatever it is, when it was a black man who had some kids, a kid of kids that was under 10 who saw this as well. They're like, he won't bully nobody. Karmelo Anthony, he's minding his business. And the Metcalf brothers went straight over there, and basically Austin Metcalf are both assaulted Karmelo Anthony. Do you understand? Assaulted him. And then Karmelo Anthony sit there and was protecting himself. By all rights, he has the right to protect himself. Well, he had a knife. So the hell what? Do you understand these people's mentality in certain sections of the Panamanian culture and some other Anglo-Asians and some Anglo-adjacent and tethers and some, you get the point, of certain type of conniving immigrationist ones and border break illegal. You get the point. It mixed into one applies to, right? These hatred for black Americans, they can't. I'm telling you, man, I find it offensive beyond that. Black Americans, you just cannot defend black Americans. Black Americans can't defend themselves. Nope, don't do that. Black Americans, you just ride over here like some immigration personnel or some second or third generation personnel from Harvard personnel. Do you understand that? And even some of the white Asians that was over here in the 1800s, and that would have been only the Chinese, and their numbers were small as I don't know what, because they didn't come over here until 1840, 1849 around the California Gold Rush. Their numbers were extremely small. A few years later, they ran over there. By the way, that's anyway, going on that. They fled tens of thousands a few years after that. And did they sit there and tell numbers of Anglo personnel, don't treat us bad? Nope, they knew their place and they were acting accordingly. Do you understand what was going on in the late 1800s? Black Americans were in formal segregation. Black Americans had their still own black towns. Oh, but Black Americans are lazy, right? You see this game. Black Americans had what? HBCUs going to the 1800s, going to the 1900s. Because what? Black Americans couldn't go to, in general, predominantly white colleges because they didn't want Black Americans there. Not because they were not intellectual. By all means, most Black American was way smarter than various person within Paname's culture, and they didn't like that. They were more hardworking than many types of personnel within Paname's culture, and they didn't like that. Do you understand? So they have to vice versa the role and make it seem like that Black Americans are the laziest. Do you see this game they got going on? Do you understand? Right? But in this situation with Karmelo Anthony, they all worried about how much money that was raised, but not worried about, hey man, who told Austin Metcalf and his brother go over there and straight line and bully and assault Karmelo Anthony? That's assault. Who told him to go over there and do that? And they want to focus on a knife. So the hell what? Do you understand this game they playing? Who told them to go over there and tell him you can't be there? Do you understand? Were the coaches saying they can't be there? He couldn't be there? Nope. Were the other grown folks saying he couldn't be there? Nope. Do you understand? He wasn't no track person over there. Austin Metcalf. So who told him he's supposed to go? His brother. Who told him he's supposed to go over there and tell Karmelo he ain't supposed to be there? See, again, some people say they know each other. I don't think so. I think something's going on with that. Because there's some other situation. I forgot where it was that may have been some racial context beforehand, but say either way, he didn't know him at all. The Karmelo Anthony or the Metcalf brother didn't know Karmelo Anthony at all. It still makes the point. They had no business. If they didn't know him, they still had no business to tell Karmelo Anthony, you can't be over there. What are you talking about? They didn't belong over there themselves. They weren't part of no track team and none over there themselves. Do you understand? See the game. But again, when I show you about the Daniel Penny, multi-millions being raised, quietness, dealing Ku Klux Klan, dealing Ku Klux Klan roof, right? Winner and unalive those grandmother, grandfather type of Christian parishioners in that church, right? And he gets multi-millions of donations, but they don't talk about that. See, that's the hypocrisy. See, to me, that is so offensive, people. I'm gonna tell you what it's like. Give me a second here. Let me see if I can find it. Let me tell you what it's like. Hold on. Let me tell you what it's like. If I can find it. If I don't, I'm not gonna worry about it. One moment here. It's like this. That's what it's like when they get quiet. That's what it's like when they get quiet with the Dylan Roof situation, all that money that was raised up for him, for unaliving. Hear what I'm saying? Multi-millions raised up for his legal defense, for murdering, for straight line going into a Black church and unaliving around nine Black American grandfather, grandmother type of Christian parishioners in his church. And he said himself that he was looking to do that toward Black Americans. This is 21st century. Do you understand? When Daniel Ku Klux Klan Penny unalive Jordan Neely, a black American man that has some mental situation going on, he wasn't attacking people left and right. Right? But it was somebody, oh boy, well, he's getting close to this white woman. Oh my, we had to go save her. He had no boom boom piece of equipment he was showing. He had no kind of knife showing, nothing. And Daniel Ku Klux Klan Penny choked out Jordan Neely. Jordan Neely, he choked him out. Do you understand? You understand? And he gets multi-millions of donations, but the same people that got this animosity, anti-Black Americanism, right, knock his head about Karmelo Anthony protecting himself with a knife, they quiet on the Jordan Neely situation. They quiet on the Dylan Roof situation. This keeps showing Black Americans about millions. This hatefulness in various parts of Americanism ain't gonna stop until people push back and say, hell no. You were not going to keep treating Black Americans as some fifth-class citizens. Who the hell are you to try to tell Black Americans how they should think and act? Who the hell are you? These various people. Do you understand? Black Americans can't sit there and protect themselves, but other people can. When Trayvon Martin got unalived, right, with the Zimmerman, white Hispanic, by the way, who they were told, do not fall. Hold on for a second. Give me a second, Harold. Give me a second. Okay. Do not follow the little Black American teen, Trayvon Martin. Don't follow him. Right? Don't follow him. Well, he's suspicious. Don't follow him. He followed anyway and shot him unalived. And he still faced no consequences of legalness. Do you understand? You understand? He unalived a Black teen who they told him not to follow him. He was just coming from a store. He had a hoodie on. He looked suspicious. This white Hispanic, this hateful white Hispanic male, he walking around like it ain't nothing after he did what he did. Do you understand? But they quiet on that. What, it's self-defense? What they claim? What did white Hispanic Zimmerman say? Self-defense? Oh, the teen didn't have no boom boom piece of equipment, no knife, nothing to protect himself. So so white Anglo Zimmerman, Hispanic Zimmerman, had a boom boom piece of equipment, and he shoots him, Trayvon Martin, and says that's self-defense. Do you understand? This system hates Black Americans within America. They hate them. And they're saying, change it. Make us stop, Negroes. It really is becoming more embarrassing that it's not enough Black Americans overall that are fighting back. They're saying, look, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. This continuously animosity toward Black Americans when Black Americans are not the overall people who are sitting there beating down, assaulting different cultures and having legislation of withholding various immigrants to come over to America and all this stuff. It ain't Black Americans doing that. Do you understand? Let me play this.
Live coverage is continuing here on WFAA Plus. I know many nights you may have been tuning in to get that after the trial coverage to get up to speed on exactly what happened during the day, but we are coming to you live, and we are going to continue to do that as we are watching what's happening inside the courtroom as these victim impact statements are continuing. You know, we have no camera, no microphone, no audio recording, nothing inside the court. The judge made that decision several months ago. So we do have reporter Jovan Puniker, who is allowed to be inside, and he is giving us live dispatches, if you will, from inside the courtroom. And that has continued throughout this trial and continuing now. We have a couple of quotes that have just come in that I want to read to you. This is coming to us from Jovan. Metcalf's mother is saying, he didn't just die, he was taken from us. She also raised her voice and said with some anger, you should feel lucky you got 35 years because I've been given a life sentence without my son.
Do you see how these people think? And when you saw her talking, also Metcalf mother talking, you question what she's about. You question some questionable about her. Her aura's off. You hear Austin Metcalf, the twin brothers' father, questionable aura, how he comes across. Dysfunctionality, allegedly, how they come across. Do you understand? Austin Metcalf, Karmelo Anthony's family, intact Black Americanism, and this system hates intact. Anything dealing with Black Americanism was intact. Okay, if both parents are not together, things happen. Okay, say if the Black American mom has a child, but she, situation happened, but they're trying to do the best for the child. Things happen. And the Black American man, he is still actively in a child's life. And by the way, Black American males are overall actively in their child's life, by the way, more than any other culture, male, actively That's the key word. Do you understand? Oh, they don't talk about that. So still, if they're not married, it happens. Okay. But both parents are still actively in the kid's life. And by the way, just because say a Black American woman has a child, she's a person and she can jump up down and say, I'm a single mother. That don't mean she's a good mother. Because how many sit there and just allowing these Black children to do what they want to do? Do you understand? And if the Black American man is trying to do discipline, nah, that's a whole different topic. The ones applies to. That's a whole different topic. But it's interesting. Again, he came from a 2-parent household, well-to-do neighborhood, honor roll student, doing this thing constructive. Do you understand? Oh, they hate that in Black Americans, but Black Americans are lazy, right? Do you understand how that goes?
Jobin says that Austin Metcalf's mother then snatched up her paper and walked right past Karmelo Anthony and went back to the gallery and sat down. So sounds as if deep emotion as well as some anger. And now we know that Jeff Metcalf, Austin's father, is giving his statement now. Jobin says there's a slideshow that is playing. The judge muted the music, and while the video is playing, Jeff is reading words off a paper, and he directly says to Karmelo Anthony, quote, "We were robbed. Don't look down." So I think we can take from that Jeff and Megan, Austin's mother and father, perhaps are finally feeling like they have a chance to have their day, to be able to say what they feel like they need to say.
Do you understand that? Do you understand the emotional part, the tactics that's going on, right? We're the same people with the Dylan Roof situation. We're the same people with this anti-Black Americanism. Black Americans can't sit there and defend themselves by assaulter Anglo-teen or teens like the Metcalf brothers, who had no right to go over there and bully and tell Karmelo Anthony, you can't be here. And to sit there and grab him. You do realize that's assault, right? We're the same people sitting there not saying anything about Daniel the Ku Klux Klan Penny unaliving, choking Jordan Neely, a Black American man who has some mental situations, to unalivement on the subway. Huh? Where's that at? Where's the and Daniel Penny raised legalness millions of dollars. What about same people? What about Dylan Roof, right? The Ku Klux Klan young Anglo teen, a young Anglo male who unalived around 9 grandfather, grandmother type of Christian parishioners in their church. And he admitted he went in there looking to unalive Black Americans. Were the same people mad about that? Now, if they would have sit there and shot him, well, why they had to do that? Do you understand? This is a wicked system. And there are numbers of personnel with the economics culture, ones that are Anglo adjacent, the ones applies to, numbers of tethers, numbers of higher immigration, numbers of border break immigrants. They have this insane hatred for Black Americans. Black Americans are not supposed to protect themselves at all. Do you understand this wickedness? This wickedness these people have. It's like this situation with Rick Child, right? With the situation with Rick Child, right? I did a show topic on that part. Again, Black Americans are not supposed to protect themselves. So, okay, Karmelo Anthony gets convicted for 35 years for unalivement of Austin Metcalf, and both his brothers were allegedly known bullies. They grabbed up Karmelo Anthony. That's assault. He had a multi-tool. Well, and he juked one of them to sit there and save his own life. I want you to imagine yourself. You got 2 big old bullies and they're grabbing, they're punching or whatever kind of assault you, and you have a piece of equipment in your purse or backpack or wherever it is, and you're going to sit there and just get bullied, get assaulted left, right without trying to protect yourself? I don't think so. Because again, if this was vice versa, and Karmelo Anthony was white, or generically Asian, or generically Hispanic, or generically some kind of immigration personnel, you get the point. And the Metcalf brothers was Black American, and they were sitting there punching or assaulting Karmelo Anthony, who was either white, Anglo adjacent. You get the point. And you see how they were saying, well, what was he supposed to do? To get beat down by those Negroes? No, they understand. And these people know that Black Americans don't get it over on their thick skull. There is hatred to Black Americans over on this system and Americanism. They want to rid Black Americans as much as possible. This is why this system has allowed so many immigrationists, personnel to come out, allowing so many border break illegal immigrants, allowing so many to get resources. Do you understand? To get in these businesses, to put what needs put on the Black neighborhoods. Do you understand? To get in resources to have these businesses in different places, predominantly again, Black neighborhoods. To sit there and give how many border break illegal immigrants free resources or in-state tuition to get them started, helping them out, bypassing Black Americans more. Do you understand?
The verdict in the Rick Child case continues to spark strong reactions across South Carolina and even on social media.
And Child was found not guilty in the murder of 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack Belton. Prosecutors argued that Chow unlawfully chased and shot the teen after a confrontation outside his store. The defense argued that Chow acted in self-defense.
The case raised difficult questions about the use of deadly force, charging decisions, what evidence jurors were allowed to see and hear, and whether South Carolina law adequately addresses cases like this one. And viewers continue to ask WIS questions about the evidence the jury did not hear in this case, including this question: could evidence of previous confrontations have changed the way jurors evaluated this case? We took that to criminal defense attorney April Sampson, who also happened to be one of the prosecutors involved in this case early on. She says if Chow had taken the stand, that could have in fact opened the door for those prior acts to be entered as evidence.
I want you to understand something. There are people that's asking questions about Karmelo Anthony. Well, why didn't he take the stand to defend himself? I'm telling you, man, I get tired of seeing numbers of Black Americans collectively getting bullied and not taking a stance to say, piss off on these various people, that they're not going to keep tolerating people bullying them physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever. I get tired of seeing millions of Black Americans just tolerating this stuff, acting as if they are some victims that just, not victims, because Black Americans are collectively victims in this wicked system. See, it's unfunny how somebody can, when C-19 was happening, you had a certain number of Chinese that were acting like victims, right? Oh my goodness, the anti-Asian, talking about Chinese, can't this C-19 originate from China, they act like victims, right? And then how certain numbers of Anglo-Asians, people looking at, oh my goodness, look how they treating us, act like victims, right? Do you understand this? So you're not going to tell what we call Jawshism personnel to stop talking about that bad hotla, man. That's being victimhood, right? Nope, you ain't going to have that. They ain't going to have, no, you ain't going to sit there and minimize that. You ain't going to tell numbers of Anglo-Hispanics, right? That came, and I'm going on, that's a whole different thing about the Dawes role and numbers of Anglo males that put themselves on different roles to call themselves Native Americans. Do you understand this game? But when Black natives saying, hey, what are you talking about? We may not be that many, but we are some of the original people in this land. You got people talking about that's Britannians, but they quiet as hell about the white Anglo. Ain't that, see, something going on with certain Black American people that they don't want to talk about that part. Do you understand? This is getting out of hand. And the whole point is, as well, what are more Black Americans going to do? When I make this point, you ain't going to tell numbers of Native Americans, stop talking about the white man took their land and the white man, they broke all these treaties, and as if 40 acres and a mule was not supposed to be a type of pseudo treaty for Black Americans that was broken. When they had the Freeman's Bureau that was supposed to be Black Americans, and who was owning it, who was over numbers of males within the Palmese culture who corrupted it. Do you understand this game that's happening? I get tired of more Black Americans just being gullible to not see what's going on with few exceptions. But what I'm getting at, Karmelo Anthony, they was questioning why he took the stand and defend himself. Defend against what? He was minding his damn business. You had Austin Metcalf and his twin brother that was alleged bullies, and they came over there and was bullying and assaulted him. Both of them, one of them assaulted him, Karmelo Anthony, and he defended himself. What's to defend? Now, Rick Ku Klux Klan minded Chow by his actions. What you just heard right there? Well, if he took the stand, he'd open himself up to this and all that, and they would have been asking questions. Oh, you see how this hypocrisy game goes.
And she believes that is exactly why he decided not to testify.
Of evidence. So for us, it's called 404B. You'll hear lawyers throw out numbers and things, but it's basically no prior bad act comes in. The rules are you only are going to talk about what happened that day or surrounding this incident. If you want to bring in prior bad acts, there's only certain ways you can do them.
Well, wrong. You mean against with Black Americans, if they have some stuff going on with them, how many times that's going to be allowed to say, by the way, that's a damn lie. A pseudo white lie. How many damn times you hear somebody, a Black American does something, and they'll say, "Whoop, they had a long background that was allowed." See, this is why these Black Americans overall in the legal class ain't getting no respect, because these people do not fear any kind of Black Americanism legal class. They know it's only but a small, minute amount of Black American legalness that have a strong backbone to sit there and fight back. It's just not enough. There's no Johnny Cochrans and some of the strong Black American legal class, right? Though, he's already passed on, and numbers of these strong Black American ones that were in these 60s and some 70s, but you get the point. Many of them passed on now. So those strong Black American lawyers, many of those have passed on. And the new breed, they say, we not worried about this new breed of Black American lawyers. We ain't worried about them at all, collectively. And this is a big problem, right? Excuses made. Do you understand? See, these other culture background, legalness from that culture, they ain't minimizing nothing. Look at him smiling, little wicked smile. Wicked Anglo-Asian smile. He know what he damn did. He know what he did. Do you say that wicked smile of his? That's a wicked smile. Do you understand? Look at him. He knows exactly what he did. Anti-Black Americanism hatred. Because if it was vice versa, there would have been beyond outrage and say, what? We got to protect Asians. Which Asians? Asians a continent. Say that again. And they got an anti-Asian hate crime bill. Do you understand? But the number one people who are the most hated in America is Black Americans. Not because they jumping them down, harming all these different people left and right. No, because again, how many people in this culture are afraid of person within the Panamese culture? How many ones that want to be like ones within the Panamese culture? How many Anglo adjacent ones want to be specifically accepted within the Panama-based culture? How many numbers of immigration personnel, right, who want to be like people within the Panama-based culture? They never will, but they wish they had or could. How many numbers of Anglo-Asians, right, like this right here? Look at the top layer of phenotype, right? They think they share of that what Anglos, and that's about all they're gonna get close to, right? And they worship numbers of people within Panama's culture. One applies to, right? But the ones that have a hatred for Black Americans, I'm talking about even more. Do you understand? They hate Black Americans, but they fled.
It has to be that it shows a modus operandi, or it can be lack of mistake or action.
This is the wife. Look how she look at the wife, Rick Child's wife. Look how she's looking at him. I mean, damn, it's like look at him like I'm looking at you. Now imagine if that would have been an Anglo-Asian child and this would have been a Black American woman just looking. Do you see these people just nonchalant? They're not nonchalant. They're sitting there doing right in front of your face, showing anti-Black Americanism, hateful. But say, we'll take your money. And these people got a problem with Black Americans saying, okay, we're just going to sit there and boycott various Asian business. The ones applies to, right? Well, we dare you to do that. Who the hell are you? Black Americans were doing anything before many Asians even exist in America. Black Americans do not need various types of Asian business, people. But unfortunately, right now, there are still numbers of Black American women going straight into these various types of Anglo-Asian haircut product places. Numbers of males going into these Asian-owned, various Asian-owned. I'm not talking about just generically pseudo-type, or we think phenotype Asian person, whatever that's supposed to mean. You do realize that there's Asia's a continent, right? India, Armenia, those are Asian countries, by the way. Iran, how many Iranian businesses? You get the point, right? Lebanese, those are Asians. How many of those personnel own these different places? They're included in Asian businesses, right? But how many of those were allowed to flee and get however resources help them out? Do you understand? How many Ukrainians are in America? Giving them resources help them out. Do you understand? The list goes on. Pakistanis, Iraqis, Afghanistanians. Do you understand? How many of them get free resources helping them get businesses? Do you understand?
That there are certain elements it has to meet. In this case, there is no way to bring those priors in.
Wrong again. Tell that to the numbers of Black Americans, how they say, oh, that Black American did this to that person, and they bring up, they got a long history sheet. Out of here.
He didn't, for example, it has to be, if you're going to bring it in and say, this is what he does every time somebody shoplifts.
You mean that they do the same thing? They place that, do they sit there and assign that same type of word terminology that you just heard? Again, when there's some Black Americans that have done certain things, and they say, oh my goodness, well, we can't bring up that they had a long rap sheet of things they've done. Nope, they bring it up. Again, if this was, again, a different culture of legalists of a different culture, they're not minimizing nothing when it's a benefit for them.
So that they did it at the store. Because remember, the ones that we've seen and that we know about, everything happened at the store.
Right.
By the time he pulls the gun in this one, they're 130 yards away.
And she's still making a freaking point. 100-some yards away, and they're chasing him. The Black American team, 14, did not steal water.
So it's different than the other two. And so for the state to have brought in these priors, they have to almost be exactly.
You saw they running? You saw these Ku Klux Klan Anglo-Asians running?
By the time he pulls the gun in this one, they're 130 yards away. So it's different than
the 14-year-old Black team.
And so for the state to have brought in these priors, they have to almost.
They run him like he's an animal. He's afraid. He's like, well, y'all chasing after me. I didn't steal nothing. Well, he had a boom piece of equipment. He was pointing at us. You're lying. Do you understand?
Be exactly the same or so similar that if you did those other two, you did this one as well.
I'm done talking. I'm tired.
So it's different than the other two. And so for the state to have brought in these priors, they have to.
Look at that. They ride him like he's an animal. Again, change the dynamic. Black Americans own that store. I don't know what the hell it's going to take for more Black Americans to demand, however politicalness, however other people saying, you giving these other people damn resources that popped up in America barely half a second ago in history. We demand you give resources. That's unearned reparations that they're damn giving, that they're getting. Who the hell are these people going to get these people free resources all over the damn place, open up business all over the place? But you're going to tell Black Americans that, we ain't got no money to help y'all out. Reparations, I ain't got anything to do with slavery. You be like, huh? But you got all these billions of resources going to Ukraine. However, money going, resources going to border break illegal immigrants. How resources going to Anglo-Asians? There was how many times people don't know that they were specifically talking about giving resources that have been given specifically for Asian businesses. How a resource that's been given specifically for border break illegal immigrants. Do you understand this game? Sanctuary cities. Do you understand giving money for people that are breaking immigration laws, protecting them? Do you understand this game they keep playing? But you know what? However, political ideology is saying, well, Black people, if you vote for somebody else, you know what they're going to be doing? That's going to hurt Black Americans. You'd be like, what are y'all doing for Black Americans? But you want Black Americans to keep voting for the same ideology and not getting on a return. Who the hell? Black Americans better wake the hell up. I'm done. thank you for tuning in to the Real CP show. I really didn't think this type of embarrassment will be at this level toward Black Americans. But I have said, and I stand by what I say, because of so many things that continue to keep happening to Black Americans, and there is no truly fighting back, saying enough of this blatant anti-Black Americanism by these other people from different cultures and backgrounds and various predominant culture and numbers of Anglo adjacent personnel, and all these different people, border break illegal immigrants, and numbers of Anglo Asians and numbers of Anglo Hispanics and certain numbers of even white Native Americans that have a hatred for Black Americans, and however numbers of immigration personnel, and you get the point. They have this hatefulness to Black Americans, but again, all these different resources. I get tired of seeing these more Black Americans are not fighting back. Thank you for tuning in again to the Real CP show.